Welcome to Timebeat Breaking News channel. Here are our breaking news today.
1. The U.S. is not in a hurry to supply COVID-19 shots to Taiwan. 2. Ministers brace themselves for Cummings' testimony on the COVID crisis.
COVID-19. The U.S. is not in a hurry to supply COVID-19 shots to Taiwan. The top U.S. diplomat in Taiwan said on Wednesday that the U.S. was not in a rush to provide COVID-19 vaccines to the island, noting that infection rates were still low, despite the fact that conversations on the subject were ongoing. Taiwan is dealing with an increase in domestic COVID-19 infections after months of relative safety, but just about 1% of the country's more than 23 million people have been vaccinated. Taiwan's government claims that millions more vaccines are on their way, and the health minister called his American counterpart last week to seek for assistance after President Joe Biden announced that he will send at least 20 million extra COVID-19 vaccine doses abroad by the end of June. According to Brent Christensen, the outgoing de facto U.S. ambassador in Taipei, everyone in the world was pleased by Taiwan's handling of the pandemic. China has offered Taiwan immunizations, but the government has rejected the offer, claiming that Beijing has failed to provide appropriate information regarding their shots and has attempted to hinder Taiwan's international access to vaccines. Taiwan has placed orders for around 20 million vaccines from AstraZeneca and Moderna, in addition to producing its own vaccines. Only about 700,000 AstraZeneca doses have been delivered so far. Taiwan, according to China's Taiwan Affairs Office, is using many various justifications to prevent its citizens from receiving immunizations from China.
COVID-19. Ministers brace themselves for Cummings' testimony on the COVID crisis. Dominic Cummings, the Prime Minister's former top advisor, is preparing to expose many of the errors he claims the government made during the COVID pandemic last year. Cummings, who has spent years in the heart of Westminster but mostly behind the scenes, will give on-camera testimony on Wednesday when he is questioned by two committees of senior MPs conducting an inquiry into the lessons to be learned from the crisis. Some conservative figures fear bombshell evidence about Johnson's actions, forecasting Domageddon, a nuclear dom, or a sword of Damocles moment. Others are unfazed, believing Cummings to be distrusted by the public for his lockdown-breaking trips, and clearly out for revenge against his former boss. Johnson finally announced this month that an independent public inquiry into ministers' handling of the pandemic would begin in spring 2022. Cummings has advocated for Parliament to conduct its own investigation in order to learn lessons faster. On the morning of the evidence session, Cummings continued to add to a 65-tweet-long thread posting a picture appeared to be dated the 13th of March 2020 of a whiteboard in Downing Street sketched with details of a COVID response, Plan B. The night before, Cummings claimed in another set of tweets that one of the worst failings last year was the almost total absence of a serious plan for shielding social care, and added, "There was widespread delusion we had a great plan. It turned out to barely exist." He also told Sky News ministers were making decisions under unprecedented situations, and that there was no textbook to open to see how to deal with a pandemic. Downing Street has not denied claims the Daily Mail reported Cummings would level at Johnson, including that the Prime Minister was so blasé about the threat of COVID at the outset of the pandemic that he considered getting infected with the virus live on TV and called it the Kung Flu virus.
Thank you for watching. We help you stay up to date all the news hourly. Please subscribe our channel to follow up the latest one.